Not quite in possession of the full trappings of power yet, Donald Trump made his way gingerly down the steps of Trump Force One and into the city he has derided as a swamp, but now returns to as the proud victor. On his way to an historic meeting in the White House and the traditional courtesy given to an incoming president that Trump himself infamously did not extend to Joe Biden.
Well, Mr. President-elect and former President, thank you. Donald, congratulations.
Thank you.
And looking forward to having like we said, a smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. And we're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. So
Good.
Welcome
Thank you
back.
very much. And thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. And a transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Jim.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Biden was sticking to the script, but no one forgets his transition to the White House was anything but smooth 4 years ago. But this was a display of civility that belied their mutual antipathy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand to your feet. The 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
En route to the White House, Trump had called in to a gathering of Republican congressmen and women and a chance to bask in the collective glow of their victory, a near certain majority in the House and control of the powerful U.S. Senate.
Well, we worked with a lot of you to get you in, and you helped me, and you helped me too.
In the audience, one Elon Musk, the super bro whose fortune helped power Trump to the White House and who was overnight repaid with the top job he'd asked for, running the so-called Department of Government Efficiency that Musk says he'll use to slash spending and regulatory red tape. And yes, there's bound to be conflicts of interest here, especially since Musk's business empire will benefit from less red tape, and his companies are the subject of multiple federal investigations. That's just detail to be ironed out.
You don't like women in combat?
No.
But the appointment which really stunned Washington, the defense establishment, and even some in his own party, was this man.
AAC just rolled out a new line of AK-47 ammo. That's right.
Pete Hegseth, a Fox News host and Army veteran, who will now be in charge of the world's most powerful military, though his handling of lethal weapons hasn't always ended well. And he has no government experience, but he has the one thing that's really required: unquestioned loyalty to Donald Trump. As every member of his entourage today has. In fact, Trump's transformation of the Republican Party is now utterly complete. Well, this is the moment many believed could never happen after January the 6th, 2 impeachments and 4 criminal indictments. Donald Trump is back in Washington, D.C. as president-elect.
I think ultimately it's America first. You know, Trump won the popular vote, he won the Electoral College, and so as we go forward, that's what we need to focus on, and anything that gets in the way of that is a problem.
How did it feel in the room? You're back.
Felt great. Felt great. God, I can't imagine the alternative. Donald Trump is the 47th president, and everybody in this country, across the globe, should get on their hands and knees and thank him for serving not only the United States, but the world.
Whether the world likes it or not, today is another historic moment. Remember, Trump sat in this Oval Office on January the 6th, 2021, and it's here he'll be returning to next January as America's 47th president.
Well, among Donald Trump's new appointments is the former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, who becomes US ambassador to Israel. Mr. Huckabee is known for his opposition to a two-state solution, arguing that the whole of the West Bank belongs to Israel. And that, along with some of Mr. Trump's other nominees, is emboldening far-right politicians in the Israeli cabinet. Our foreign affairs correspondent, Secunda Kamani, is with me. So what are these far-right figures saying?
Well, look, Christian, of course, so much of our focus right now is on the events in Gaza, the horrific images of Palestinian suffering that we're continuing to see, wondering when, if the war might come to an end. These far-right Israeli politicians, a lot of their focus right now in the aftermath of Trump's victory is on the occupied West Bank. Remember, this is land that is integral to the creation of any future Palestinian state. It is land considered internationally as belonging in its entirety to Palestinians, but and they do administer some parts of it, but the Israelis have occupied the West Bank for more than 50 years, and hundreds of thousands of settlers now live there in these enclaves which carve into the territory. They've been expanding at an unprecedented rate, and their presence makes a two-state solution very difficult, to say the least. But settler leaders, including those who are right at the heart of this coalition government in Israel, want to go even further. They want to formally annex some or all of the West Bank. They believe the land is promised to them by God, and they believe that Donald Trump will support their vision.
The year 2025 will be, with God's help, the year of sovereignty in Judea and Samaria. I intend, with God's help, to lead a government decision that says that the government of Israel will work with the new administration of President Trump and the international community to apply the Israeli sovereignty over Judea and Samaria.
And what does Trump make of that?
Well, Trump repeatedly on the campaign trail talked about what a strong supporter of Israel he is. Some of the appointments, as you've said, that he's been making are of figures who are clear ideological allies of the extreme settler right. Take Mike Huckabee. He is a staunch evangelical Christian. Here's a clip of him talking a few years ago. He's going to be the new ambassador to Israel.
There are certain words I refuse to use. There is no such thing as a West Bank. It's Judea and Samaria. There's no such thing as a settlement. They're communities, they're neighborhoods, they're cities. There's no such thing as an occupation.
Well, today in an interview with Israeli media, Mike Huckabee was more cautious. He said, look, it's going to be Trump who's going to set the policies, not me. Another key Trump appointee is Stephen Witkoff. He's a golfing buddy of Trump's. He's a real estate tycoon. He raised a lot of money for the campaign from the American Jewish community. He's going to be the special envoy to the Middle East. Last time that Trump was in power, he made a number of steps that pleased the Israeli right wing. They, for example, recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, despite its contested status. Settler leaders clearly have put a lot of faith in Trump right now. But some former Trump officials are saying that he won't necessarily support a move like annexation of the West Bank. Clearly, US allies in the region like Saudi Arabia would oppose that move. Israel's been accused of de facto annexing the West Bank already. Formally doing so, though, would make the prospect of a solution to this conflict all the more remote.
Thanks, Secunda. Well, joining me now is Mustafa Barghouti, a politician in the West Bank and head of the Palestinian National Initiative Party. Thank you for joining us. What do you make of these new appointments by Donald Trump? They are very pro-Israel and very anti-Palestinian state.
Well, they are very worrying. Of course, these appointments of a bunch of far-right, extreme evangelical anti-Semites, I would call them, because of their beliefs, is very alarming. When you have people, as you have shown, like Mike Huckabee, saying that there are no Palestinians. He doesn't recognize even the presence of Palestinian people. He claims we are invented people. And he says that there is nothing called West Bank and there is no occupation. With a person who has such views, who is absolutely and totally supportive not of Israel, but of the most extreme fascist elements in Israel, who are advocating the annexation of the West Bank, who are trying to kill any possibility for peace in the region, and who are actually declaring that their intention is to annex the West Bank. That's what not only Smotrich said that, but Netanyahu as well.
Could you just explain?
They are preparing the ground for that.
Some of our viewers will be confused by your accusation of anti-Semitism. Could you just explain what you mean by that?
Well, these evangelicals say that all Jews should be gathered and put in Palestine so that Christ can come back, and then they will have to choose either to become Christians or be slaughtered. That's what they believe in. Isn't that anti-Semitism?
Right.
It is so strange that Israel is relying on the support of such people, fanatic people, crazy people, who don't have any respect for human lives or for justice.
The argument, as you know, is that a strong position in Washington, and it appears that it is just strongly on Israel's side, will force you, the Palestinians, into some kind of climb down and deal. will be your response to that suggestion?
Nobody is speaking about a deal. They are speaking about two things: land annexation, which means stealing our land, and theft of our land, and they are speaking about ethnic cleansing of Palestinian people, as they are trying to do now in the north of Gaza and in Gaza in general. These people are talking about extermination, about ethnic cleansing of Palestinian people. And I say that their policy is about practically, not only it's a death sentence to the so-called two-state solution, it's a death sentence to international law. When Huckabee says there is no occupation and no settlements and no Palestinians, he's practically saying there is no international law. So this is not just about Palestine. It's about world order. It's about what kind of law will prevail in this world. If any power in the world has the power to do whatever they want, they can do whatever they want, then we live in a horrible world.
So
and,
what is
really,
your...
This is something...
What's your expectation then in the short term as to how Israel will behave? I mean, do you expect to see a much bigger ramping up of military action in the West Bank?
Yes, we expect more harassment, more aggression. It is already happening in the West Bank. It is happening in Tulkarem and Jenin in many areas. 750 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank since October 7th. 11,500 have been arrested. So much destruction everywhere. But I'm telling you, they will not break us. They will not stop our struggle for freedom. And if Israel kills the two-state solution, as it is going to do, and if Trump supports such an act, we will then have to say the only solution is one democratic state for everybody. Of course, what they are creating now is a system of apartheid, much worse apartheid than what prevailed in South Africa. But that will not stop us. We will continue our struggle for our freedom, for justice. And as much as the people of South Africa didn't stop struggling for justice, we will also do the same. But so many people will suffer. So many Palestinians, so many Israelis will suffer. And the world will watch terrible atrocities happening as it is happening now in Gaza.
Mr. Barghouti, thank you very much for joining us.